Attention, Josh.
Oh.
A new report about the Netflix Daredevil characters coming into the MCU is out there on the internet.
Really? That's awesome. I bet fans are super pumped about that.
Negative. Fans are furious.
Show me. What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerdventures Tower as per usual. And yeah, man, there's some crazy updates with regards to the cast of the Daredevil show, which was on Netflix coming into the MCU. It's pretty wild. Some conflicting reports, confused fans. So let's take you through the news, talk about what happened with fans on the internet, and then I'll give you my opinion on this. Now, this all started with a post on Daniel RPK's Patreon. We talk about Daniel Richtman a lot over here. Very good insider. And all he really said in his post on Patreon was that most of the Daredevil cast would be returning for Echo, which is an upcoming spin-off show for Disney Plus, and there will be a Daredevil solo project sometime down the line. He also indicated that this Echo season, this Disney Plus show, was going to feel a lot like Daredevil Season 4. Now, Echo coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and being involved with Daredevil is something that we've known about for some time. There are a lot of rumors about this. This is connected to reports about Vincent D'Onofrio coming back as Kingpin in the Hawkeye show and then being a big part of the Echo show as well. But this post by Daniel Richtman actually caused a bunch of confusion from different fans out there on the internet. A lot of people just confused or upset at the way they interpreted this news. There were some fans saying, why would you do this for the Echo show? Why can't you just give us an Echo show and not just shoehorn in all of these Netflix Daredevil characters? We don't want this to feel like Daredevil Season 4. This should be focusing on the character of Echo. And then you had this other side that was all about Daredevil, and they were furious that maybe Daredevil Season 4, or the continuation of the Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox Daredevil character, would be happening in a separate show. Why wouldn't you just do Daredevil Season 4? And then you had people like me that were just like, Punisher when? But in all seriousness, the hoopla and the craziness online, it got so intense that Daniel Richtman actually issued a clarifying statement on his Patreon. I'm going to pull that up for you and we'll talk about this. Okay, so I had this pulled up on Reddit here. It says he just posted an update on his Patreon to include this. To be clear, this is still very much Echo's show. When I say it's going to feel like Season 4 of Daredevil, it's because we'll get to see all these characters from that show coming back and play big parts in it. But Echo is still the lead and it's her show. Also, another thing that is important to note is that the characters will be somewhat soft rebooted into the MCU, but will still have a history with one another. So they'll look somewhat different with a bit of different backgrounds, but still played by the same actors. Pretty freaking crazy stuff. It did sort of clarify what was going on for a lot of different Marvel fans, and so fans got a little less upset when they had this clarification from Daniel. But now let me sort of talk about this report and what I think it means and why I'm so excited. So I think at a base level here, this just corroborates a lot of the different reports that are out there about Charlie Cox and a lot of the people from the Netflix Daredevil show and that whole side of Marvel coming into the MCU. I remember back in the day, man, I thought this would be impossible. I thought Charlie Cox was bye-bye gone until we saw Charles Murphy break that huge scoop that this dude was coming back in the MCU. He was going to play a small role in the next Spider-Man movie. Apparently, he is rumored to be in the She-Hulk show. And then since that news came out, there have been a lot of different reports talking about, Vincent D'Onofrio and other characters, like maybe even Deborah Ann Wolf's Karen Page coming into the MCU, and we don't know for sure that that's happening. But this report ties a lot of that stuff together. We were wondering, how is this going to work? Is it the exact same characters from that Netflix universe coming into the MCU? Are they going to come in much the same way we think other characters from Sony movies are coming in, like the Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, or Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? Are they going to be shot in from a different universe? But Daniel's indicating that no, we're going to see that same cast playing those same characters, but essentially they're going to have a different history. They will have a history together, and so a lot of the pre-established chemistry and the, good and bad aspects of their personal relationships will carry over, but it's not as though all of that exact stuff that happened in the Netflix shows happened in the canon for these MCU versions of the characters. Soft reboot is probably the best way to say it, and it's super hyped. Like, this is incredible. I wonder all of the different characters that are coming back. You would assume Foggy's going to come back. I think you should definitely bring Karen Page back in, and there's a little contention there because Deborah Ann Wolf's husband was coming after Charles Murphy for different reports about Matt Murdock being in Spider-Man's. Really weird stuff going on there, so who knows? Maybe she's not in it. I think she likely will be. And then, of course, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, the big part of the show that's coming back. And the thing is, to me, an Echo series is like a perfect way to bridge all of these different characters together. Like, you might be surprised at Kingpin being in the Hawkeye show. How would that make any sense? Well, the truth is, all of these different villains and a lot of the different characters that we saw in the Netflix shows, they're all connected. They all hang out in New York. They fight crime or do crime in or around New York City. And so a lot of them have history together. And so who is this Echo character? Well, let's pull it up here in the research wing. I'm going to show you guys right here. Okay, so it says here the history of the character. She is a Native American from the Cheyenne Nation. Her name is Maya Lopez, and she was born deaf. She was initially placed in special education, but after using her skill to duplicate a song from a recital, she was placed in the gifted section. She particularly enjoyed art and dance. Her father was secretly a mob enforcer working for Kingpin. One day he was murdered under the Kingpin's orders. He reached out to Maya, leaving a bloody handprint on her face. She was taken in by Fisk, who was impressed with her talents and had sent her to the best schools money could buy. As a result, she became very talented in many artistic fields. Fisk used her in one of his plots to destroy Daredevil. Firstly, he arranged for Matt to meet her, knowing Matt was lonely after the recent death of Karen Page. Maybe that's why Deborah Ann's not in there. He then tricked Maya by convincing her that Daredevil killed her father. Having watched videos of Bullseye and Daredevil fighting, she proved more than a match for Daredevil. Maya created an identity of Echo based on her ability to copy motions she sees and fought Daredevil. He did not know why she was suddenly attacking him, and she was shocked to learn it was Matt she was targeting. Matt was able to explain himself, angry at the deliberate deception. Maya then brutally shot the Kingpin, which left him blind for a time. So maybe now, after looking at that, research that we had pulled up here, it's a little more obvious as to how this could all tie together and what you might expect from an Echo series. She's really involved with Kingpin and heavily involved with Matt Murdock in that exact story, and I think it would just make a lot of sense to help tie all of those characters together. I think Echo's a really interesting character, and her place within this sort of weird pantheon and lore of Marvel, especially when it comes to the Kingpin and the organized crime, because he's a massive deal, obviously, in the comics. I think it's super fun, and hey, she even has ties to Hawkeye as being the original Ronin that passes that mantle to him. It's pretty wild, ladies and gentlemen. Very cool character that has a lot of connections to other Marvel characters that you might know more about. So I'm excited, man. And so that's the report out there about the Echo series, about Matt Murdock and all of those Daredevil characters coming into the MCU. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out, but that's the report and some, speculation of how we think this will all tie together. So let us know what you think about that in the comments section below. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel to see more of our content pop up in your recommended feed, and go check out our live streaming channel where we talk about all these cool nerdy things all throughout the week. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.